Well, clearly we've been meeting with the steam packet, we've met with Mesron, we've had a variety of discussions which are looking at how we can move the position forward. But quite simply, we've delivered the message to the steam packet that the amount of debt that they're currently carrying is, we believe, far too great for the company. This is potentially what's allowed Mesron to come in, because clearly the steam packet have to service that debt, and by servicing that debt they have to charge enough money to be able to do that, which has meant that their charges are perhaps higher than they need to be. So we've delivered a reasonably clear message now, I think, to the steam packet that debt is a big issue and it does need to be resolved. I believe that I've had a very clear message from Tynwald members as well with regards to that. I obviously speak to Tynwald members on a regular basis. Their view is you get the steam packet. If the steam packet is to be helped in any way, it has to help itself, and the first thing it needs to do is sort out the debt.
Would you be prepared, therefore, to see the steam packet go under?
Well, personally, I would hate to see the steam packet go under, and I do believe that it is possible for the steam packet to resolve some of the issues that they're currently facing. I fully understand, the steam packet has a lot of history associated with the Isle of Man. We've got a lot of staff working for the steam packet, and to be fair on the steam packet, they do an excellent job. We've got a fantastic regular service considering the stretch of water that the steam packet has to travel over. It's a good service, it's a regular service. The only significant issue I think that people have is perhaps it's too expensive, and that is a big problem. And again, if you're carrying debts of hundreds of millions of pounds which you have to service, clearly you have to get the money to pay back that debt, and the only way you're going to do that is charging your passengers or freight users.
So would you be prepared to see them go under?
Well, as I said, I would prefer not to see the steam packet go under, and I believe that the answers are there for the steam packet. It is possible for the steam packet to find a way through this. Particularly, I think we have to bear in mind that there's a bank, a number of banks actually, but one particular bank I think is funding the majority of the debt, and it's really down to that bank to understand that the steam packet is currently overpriced, particularly I think the user agreement element of that. That needs to be a clear message going back to the bank. I think it's very unfortunate because it's probably not really the bank's fault. It's probably further down the line, earlier on in the steam packet's history, but when Macquarie took over, it was clearly overpriced at that point. But that's the issue. Once that issue is dealt with, then I think the steam packet has a good future potentially ahead of it.
Because all these inquiries into the steam packet, that's where it came out, of course, about this debt. Otherwise it possibly wouldn't be a well-known bit of information, would it? Were you surprised, as everybody else seemed to be surprised about this sort of debt the company's got?
No, I think it was pretty obvious when the steam packet was bought, bearing in mind the price that was paid. It was reasonably clear the level of price and the level of problem that the steam packet was potentially causing for itself. But clearly the amount of detail that's come out of the Select Committee investigation, and of course there's also an OFT inquiry, part of which has been reported and a further bit due to come out very shortly. That sort of information has sort of exposed to the world the inner details, I suppose, of how the steam packet works. So clearly the information is now very much available, and I think for anyone who has any interest in how this steam packet works, all the information that you could possibly have is now very clearly and very publicly available.
Okay, let's talk about subsidies. Will you, or do you believe there will be a subsidy that will be offered to the steam packet?
I don't think a subsidy is necessary, quite frankly. The steam packet, if you take aside the significant debt problem, you actually look at the steam packet as an operating company. What it does is operates a route, it provides an excellent service, and it is a highly profitable company. It has to be a highly profitable company to be able to pay for the debt that it's got. If the debt can be in some way reduced or removed, you then have a highly profitable company. So why would you want to subsidise that? That would not make any sense. It is a well-supported route, and I'm quite sure that if in the very worst instance the steam packet did go under, and I do hope that doesn't happen, I would have thought, and certainly the information seemed pretty clear, as far as decent, well-run businesses and clear, obvious opportunities, another ferry operator would come in and provide the service. As I say, I hope that doesn't happen, because I believe that the steam packet, particularly the history of it and the people who are employed by it, the service it provides, it's all very good apart from the price. We can get the price sorted out by getting a significant reduction on the debt. Hopefully we can move forward.
Mr Woodward's made it clear that he's over providing at the moment to the user agreement, and therefore there could be cutbacks and still stay within that agreement. Your views?
Yeah, I mean, there can be. It's only, I think it's about 4%. I think it's something like 40 journeys a year that they could reduce. And how they would actually go about doing that is not entirely clear, because I think the times that they could potentially reduce the journeys would be summertime, when the vessels are most full. So it's probably not that much wriggle room, although it does exist, and clearly it is a possibility. I think all these points are things that the department has considered. I know economic development has also been looking at the economic impact as well of potentials of things going wrong. So we're now, we formed a working party of council ministers where Treasury, Economic Development, Attorney General's Office and indeed my department will be talking through all the issues, looking at the contingency plans we have in place, making sure we've got everything that we need to have arranged if the worst came to the worst, but also continuing to talk to the steam packet, Mezeron, and indeed anyone else who wishes to talk to us about how the future of sea travel to and from the Isle of Man is going to look.
Obviously, the employees of the steam packet made their voices known to you last week, and at the end of the day, they haven't counted anything in or anything out as far as what they'll do to pursue their case. Now, it doesn't take a mastermind to obviously think about things like TT, which could be the point when disruptions to any sort of service would be a bit damaging, to say the least, to the Isle of Man. You looking that far ahead? Yes,
clearly that is a big issue. That would be the time, if I was a union leader, that's the sort of time I'd be looking at to try and cause disruption. I would hope that we would have this issue resolved before then. Certainly, I know that, in terms of the whole issue, the steam packet really needs to come up with some solutions reasonably swiftly. If nothing else, for the several hundred staff that they have, to give them some reassurance that the steam packet actually has a plan and does know how it's going to get around the problem. To be fair, in the steam packet management, it's always difficult when someone comes in the way that Mezeron has, for them to come up with plans and understand how they're going to work forward. But added to that, I would say they've known for a while that this is a potential threat, and I'm sure that they have been working on plans to try and defend their particular corner. But it is, it's a very complex area, and I think knee-jerk reactions or instant decisions are not a good way of dealing with the issue of the steam packet. What we do know is the user agreement is a sound general principle to ensure that we have stability in our sea services. What we are perhaps, and I think certainly this is the view of many people in the Isle of Man, aware of is that the user agreement has allowed prices to be perhaps higher than they should have been. Certainly the steam packet is a very profitable company, and the user agreement allows the prices to be at the levels that they're at. Possibly if and as it's a big if at this stage, if there were any talk about renegotiating or the user agreement, then prices would have to come down significantly, I think, as a result of any renegotiation.
Finally, where do you think we'll be this time next year?
I hope that we will have a service very similar to the service that the steam packet is currently offering, but at a reduced rate, both for freight and indeed for passengers. I hope that's the position we get to. Certainly, government will be working as hard as it possibly can to ensure that. It's something that we are regularly told in opinion polls and surveys, and when we're talking to our constituents, people want cheaper travel to and from the Isle of Man, but they also want stability, and they want choice, and they want the routes that are available. They want to have all of these things, and I can fully understand that. The other thing, of course, that they don't want is to pay more tax. So somehow we have to be able to deliver all the things that people want in terms of good service, plenty of routes, reasonable prices, without putting taxes up to pay for it. So it's just getting the balance right, and it will happen, I'm sure. But it won't happen quickly. It'll be a properly considered, careful decision, taking account of what is a very complex issue.